Hello and good morning, everyone. It is Jean with Captain Stitches, and this is Stitch Talk. And this morning I am coming to you from the Stitching Corner, one of my favorite places. And I will be working on some handwork again while we chat this morning. Let me see who all is here. We have Michelle, of course, the early bird. She's been there for a while already this morning. And welcome, Debbie Williams. She is one of the stitching friends, as is Mona from Mona Did What. Welcome to you both. And there's Danielle, also a member of the Stitching Friends and my awesome moderator and adopted daughter. Thank you for joining us this morning. And Joyce is also here this morning. And Kathy, look at that, all lit up in green this morning. The Stitching Friends are here in force. Wow, you guys are awesome. And Carol, we've got a green and blue theme going on this morning. Michelle, you're the only one in white. What's going on? Oh, didn't mean that. But yeah, that's quite exciting to see all my stitching friends, members of the channel out in force this morning. Oh, you are so welcome, Danielle. And yes, so what will I be working on this morning with you? I have chosen to continue working on the embroidery on the Scrappy Nines and Snowball blocks. So that is what I will be doing here shortly, but taking a few minutes, I was going to say seconds, but it's longer than seconds, to greet everyone as they come in. Hello, Letitia. Welcome to you and good morning. It's great to see you this morning, early for a Monday morning for everyone. And Danielle, Kathy says that she is enjoying your channel also. Yes, Danielle and Mona both have channels. And for those of you that are content creators, to make it easier on the moderators, and because I don't have it set up to do automatically yet, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to have to check into that. If you just put exclamation point selfie in the chat, it will automatically bring up your link to your channel so everyone can check those out and see all the wonderful things that you do over on your channels, also in the community of quilters and stitchers and crafters and what maybe. But and there is Danielle putting in that exclamation selfie so the rest of you can also see how that will work. And Letitia says up at 4:30 every morning. Well, that's about the time I'm up every morning too, Letitia. So no problem. Half of our day is over by now. Oh, but yeah, get a lot of work done that way. All right. But I will go ahead and let me see. There's that silly little thing that pops up there on the top in the way of where I need to control things. But we will get there in just a second. I am going to replace the spotlight so now you can see. I always end up moving somehow in the chair to where I have everything lined up and then I sit down in the chair differently. Imagine that. But this is the little quilt that I have been working on. If you remember, the bunny that we were working on last week is all completed. Only have just a little bit on this bird left, just that one little leaf in this stem. And then I will be working on this house in the middle. So that is what I will be working on this morning. LOL. Yes, it is. Yes. Good morning, Deb, asked the Pug Mama Quilter. That is Deb Somerville with her awesome little puppy pug. I forget your dog's name, Deb. You'll have to share that with us. Ooh, the bird and flowers are gorgeous. Yes, a lot more work than let me get this down here. There's a lot more work involved in that one than the bunny. And it's like, ooh, when I was working on that last night, I said, oh, this is going to take some time. Maybe shouldn't have been one of the ones I chose to do as the repeat. I have to do this one, I think, four more four more times, as well as the bunny, and then the others are only done once. But so that is going to take a little bit of time, but I keep moving it, and that is the one that I'm actually working on right now. Doing the stem stitch is what I am doing on this stem and leaf. But so what does everyone else have planned to work on today? Are you going to be stitching, quilting, bag making? Oh, we've got a little whatever under there that I need to get rid of before I catch that. Oh, and forgot where I put my scissors. They're on me. Before we get that caught in the thread there. Just some of the raveling of the edge of the quilt. And I don't want to end up catching my stitching on that and then have to remove it because it's caught in that excess thread there. But and going to continue by doing, sorry, had to get that up there to get it started, by doing the stem stitch on this little tiny leaf to outline that. You're going to be working on a quilted jacket after work. Okay, Danielle, awesome. And Andrea is also here with us this morning. Welcome, Andrea, another one of the stitching friends. We're all lit up in green and blue this morning. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope everyone is well this stormy day in Texas. Are you having storms again, Andrea? I am so sorry. That's getting a little tiresome, isn't it? And Debbie says she is cross stitching and working on the jellied charm quilt. Awesome. Okay. I thought that said something else there. My eyes deceive me sometimes, but when doing the stem stitch and you are like going around this leaf, you always want your thread to be on the outer side of that. So when I am stitching on this top part, my thread is at the top of the needle in that stem stitch. And when I come down here, it'll be just the opposite so that it ends up on the outside of it, going both directions. Because I will show you when I get to the point here, instead of turning my work, I'm going to put that last stitch right there, and I'm just going to bring my needle, and I won't have to turn it because I'm bringing it to the bottom other side of that leaf. And now I will work that direction, keeping my thread on the bottom side of the needle, and that will make the stitch the same all the way around that leaf. And Danielle is currently hand sewing butterfly hair clips while working. Oh, right. And Mona says I have to put interfacing on fabric for bags and work on my afternoon tea quilt. Oh, you're really enjoying that afternoon tea quilt, aren't you, Mona? Which I do have that pattern at some point in time. I will be doing it. Just not sure exactly when. And Maritza is here from Maritza's Yarn and Crafts. Don't forget to put that exclamation point selfie in the chat, Maritza, so that your channel link will pop up for everyone. Welcome, welcome. And Andrea says she just woke up for the second time this morning, so not working on anything yet. All right. I hope you have your coffee though, Andrea. And Carol is here and she is working on a tiny 9 patch. All right. I just had to remember how I was doing the middle of this sleeve, which the middle part is just a couple back stitches. that makes the vein going down that tiny little leaf. And now that bird is complete. And that is what it looks like. Keep moving. There's writing there that's covering up part of what I see. So, but there it is with the beautiful pink little flowers on there. Heart up here in this corner with French knots on, and then the bird itself and more flower petals. And this is French knots all in these little bud ones there. So that is the stitching that is done on that. And Deb says she has the pattern too. Which pattern are you referring to? I'm not sure. Oh, the tea that Mona is doing. Okay, awesome. And Andrea says her pill reminder alarm woke her up this time. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good thing, I guess, then. And Junebug is here. Good morning to you. Welcome, welcome. No coffee yet, says Andrea. Literally just woke up. Okay, good morning. So, Terry, it is awesome to see you this morning also. Thank you, Letitia. All right. And I need to knot my thread back here so I can continue on now to the house block. Not the house block, the house embroidery. I keep forgetting that I put my scissors on me. Keep looking over at where they're usually laying instead, but I do have, which I will show you what I'm referring to. We'll just add me here for a minute. Right here, I have this little magnetic holder, which it is. Now you won't be able to see it. I'm not going to spotlight myself. Excuse me. But it's a heart that says quilt, and it's got the strong magnet on the back, and there's a lanyard there to hold your scissors, and it just clips right on there. It's not a microphone, it's my scissors. And I am going to remove that so you will be able to see the stitching better. There we go. And I better take a drink of coffee to get that tickle out of my throat. Okay. Yes, afternoon tea party. Thank you, Deb. And Terry says, thanks. I'm going to brew another pot. Okay, awesome. And Christine is here. Good morning, Christine. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, we've blown the chat up in green. All the members of the channel Stitching Friends are all lined up in that chat this morning. Awesome. You guys are so great. Okay, which on this house that I'm doing right here, the directions for the embroidery on it says to use a back stitch on that. So that is the stitch that I am doing. And I'm not adding a lot of color into these because I think it will take away and distract from the beautiful fabrics that are with this. So I have chosen only to use the pink, the green, and the brown that is already, which I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of brown color that goes through this quilt in those leaves and some of the vines on that. So those are the only colors that I am using in my embroidery, so it doesn't distract from it and overpower the quilt. And Andrea says, it's another overcast, sleepy day, but I have Bargello fabric to starch, iron, and cut today. So hopefully I can stay awake to get that done. I have that book, Andrea, but I have decided that I am not going to do that quilt. I have way too many other. I'm trying to figure out how to get my hand under here to get my. I'm sorry, we have to bring that up to get this started. And I think we will start over there and work our way down. Yeah, I decided I've got way too many other other whips that I need to work on those instead of adding another quilt at this time. But I do have the pattern book if I ever decide to do it in the future. And Christine says, those of you that know, I think that's YouTube well, why when I'm waiting for live to start, it does not start where I am waiting. I have no idea, probably because the way you have to skip the ad in the beginning or something by when you hit the button. I have no idea. I can't help you there, Christine. Don't know if any of the others can or not, but I think it's just a little difference. I don't know. It may be the way the streaming software or something works too. I'm not sure on that. But and Donna Dixon is here. Good morning, Donna. Great to see you. She says, very windy here in Alabama. Alabama is windy. It's windy here in Ohio this morning also. Andrea says there are storms in Texas. I need to turn this a little. That's a little awkward way to be working on that. And I'm trying, but I cannot see what I am, the camera view and my stitching at the same time. That would be a little bit impossible, but I'm trying to keep as much of it in a close enough view so that those of you trying to see what I'm doing can tell a little bit. I am not a techie person. I do not have expensive camera equipment. This camera is my phone that I am using, and it is a cheap holder that it is in. So, making do with what I have. If my son were here, he is very techie. He knows a lot of stuff. He could set things up for me, but he lives in Wyoming, so this old broad has to figure things out on her own. Oh, and Danielle says she's not sure either. Oh, and Lorraine is here. Welcome, Lorraine. She says it also does that too, and I end up missing the beginning of the live. Well, the beginning's always just a quick little, the introduction's usually the same. It's not very much that you're really missing, and if you are missing quite a bit, you can always go back and watch that on the replay and see if there's anything exciting that you missed. But believe me, all you probably missed was, hi, I'm Jean with Captain Stitches, and this is Stitch Talk, where I will be joining you from the stitching corner this morning. That's probably about all you missed. I'm just guessing, but and that's basically, my little intro in the morning on my Monday stitch talk. So, but yeah, I've noticed on some that I do it also does that, but never really very much that you miss. It's just whatever they said in the very beginning. It wasn't that anyone was a winner of, $100 gift card or anything like that. Not missing anything important, I'm sure. Oh, well, I mean, everything I do is important, right? Uh, I had to check and see what that other line was. It's a door. I was making sure I wasn't straying off my pattern here. But what if I love, hi, I'm Jean? Well, then you gotta go catch the replay, Christine. Oh, one of these days, maybe I'll change it up. And Andrea says, I think they are trying to get me to sync all my devices. And I always tell that prompt no, because how else could I watch two lives at the same time? I don't know. I can't watch two lives at the same time, Andrea. I have to focus on one at a time and do the others on replay. Good morning, Vicky. It is great to see you. And just so you know, Vicky, you might not want to type everything in all caps because Nightbot doesn't like that, and it may block some of your messages out, and if it continues, they may put you in timeout. Don't They don't like a bunch of emojis at once, and they don't like all capitals. Just so you know, I don't have a problem with it. It's Nightbot that does that. But since I caught that, I thought I'd go ahead and warn you before you wonder, okay, how come my comments are being deleted? Okay, and now I have to figure out where do I want to go, because I'm going to have to end up turning it no matter what I do. So we will go ahead and end up starting down at this little door. And get that over on the other side of the needle so it stitches correctly. And now I have to turn that. Oh, it's no problem. Like I said, it doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that Nightbot will not like that, which is what keeps, spam. Nightbot is a little app that drops links for us and keeps spammers and bad language and that type of thing out of the chat automatically. So for those of you that are not aware of what it is. But yeah, I don't have a problem at all, Vicki. So now I am working on the door. And I guess I should have made sure I was still in the shot there. But when I am working on embroidery, I always try to figure out what is going to be the path that I can start out and keep going the most continuously without having to stop and either change colors or not and go to another section and start again. Just like when you are quilting a quilt, you try to figure out where you can go that you can keep going continuously for the longest amount of time. Of course, we're always going to run out of thread. We can't control that, but. Oh, Danielle says she has a baby quilt to make. Super excited. Yeah, awesome. I don't have anyone that I have to worry about relative wise having babies anymore to make, but I still make many, many baby quilts just to give away. And we have a little dog moving down there at the bottom of my feet. If the camera shakes, he is by the tray that I do have the stand for it connected to, so I will apologize in advance if all of a sudden it shakes. And Donna says she's sewing scraps and selvages, trying to figure out ways to use up scrap fabric. Awesome. Have you done the dryer sheet method yet, Donna? That's a great way to use the strips and selvages. Sew them, strip piece them onto dryer sheets, and they come out with a nice rectangle shape. And Andrea says, I tried to do some cross stitching the other day and found I could not see the pattern well enough. Any suggestions for a good lighted magnifying something? There are several of them out there, Andrea. So there are ones that have, are like I have beside me. I don't think it shows up in the other view. Let me check. I think it's too far off to the side. Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can adjust this. I'm not going to be able to see enough of it, but it has the little clamp for your pattern, and on the other side it has a magnifying glass, and then the light is up above me all in one. But you can get, I'll show that and take a picture of it and show it to you later, Andrea, better. But sorry for taking you on a little trip there trying to show you that. But there are several out. I mean, I would check, if you want to check online, I would check places like Wayfair, um, Amazon, of course, and just look and see what is available. But now, when I have a problem seeing because of light, which Christine reminded me of this last night when we were in Discord, I have this that you can put around your neck and turn that on, and it really adds awesome light to what you are working on if lighting is a problem. And then, of course, they have the magnifiers that you can actually put on your glasses also. So that might be a combination that you could try also, Andrea. That would be the cheaper to try out first, because some of the lights and other things can get a little spendy. Which I did get this light off of Amazon, and I have, come to think of it, right down here that I always forget that I have. This is an OttLite magnifying glass. You love my pink neck light, said Danielle. Oh, let me see what I'm missing real quick here before it gets away from me. Melody Kiefer is here this morning also. Good morning, Melody. It is great to see you. Oh, okay, Donna. Awesome. You are using the dryer sheets for your scraps. And Vicky says, I just ordered the yo-yo maker. Awesome. You are going to love that, Vicky. I have gotten several people addicted to the yo-yo makers. It's a good addiction. Good addiction, not a bad addiction. Okay. And Donna says, I love those yo-yo makers. So fun. See, yep. And Eva is with us this morning. Also, good morning, Eva. And how's everyone doing? I'm doing good. Can't speak for everybody else, but okay. But this, Andrea, is one, and I gotta remember how you wear it, but you put it around your head and it has the magnifying glass then. Whoa, boy, does that magnify. Woo, woo. And then it also has a light built in. And that, whoa, yes, that would take some getting used to, but it works very well. I can tell you that. And of course, you're going to have to adjust it according to your chest size there. It will be, indifferent, but that really, wow. I'm going to have to work with that a little because that really does. And see there, I don't know if you can tell that there's a light on there also. And I'm pretty sure that that was also ordered from Amazon, but I will leave what those are in the description box. I will add that for you after the live is over, Andrea. Um, okay, if it's the pattern that you're having trouble seeing, I thought maybe you were having a problem seeing, doing the actual stitching. If you're having a problem with the pattern, and I don't have mine close, they have a little, magnetic clear thing made just for cross stitch that is a magnet that you can put right over the section. Whoops, sorry, right over the section that you are working on your pattern, Andrea, which I will also take a picture and show that and share that with you after the live is over. And I need to remove myself here so you can see what I am doing once again. Sorry, forgot about that. Oh, yeah, I didn't know how to say that, but that would make a little bit of a difference there, depending on. Okay, now I have to figure out which way I want to go. I'm going to have to turn it again. Unless yep, I'm going to have to turn my work again so that I can get this going the correct direction. Or wait a minute. I just have to take a little stitch there and come up, and I'm going the correct way. Okay. I had to rethink that out there. That's my job, Andrea, to entertain and teach stitching and quilting and share a laugh in there once in a while. Keep you smiling while you're stitching. And as many besides Andrea has said, with the name Kept in Stitches, that can be taken, as keeping you in stitches as far as what it is meant, doing quilting, embroidery, anything that has to do with thread and needle, yarn, or can have a little comic relief by keeping you in that type of stitches. More so the first option than the second, but. And for those that may not have, caught my comments before, I did not plan to do embroidery on this quilt when I made it. So that is why I'm having to deal with the entire quilt while I am doing this embroidery. Had I known beforehand and planned better and decided that I was going to be doing the embroidery on the snowball sections, I would have done that before the quilt was assembled. Would have put the snowball blocks together, done the embroidery on them individually, and then stitched them together and the rows together into the quilt. Would have been much easier. But it is still doable. Just have to do a little bit more finagling, as you can see, as you go with the quilt. But always has to be a challenge of some kind when we are working on things, and that's okay. We can always figure out the means to the end. And of course, that little heart that you see in this window, well, I guess that's the top of the door. It's the top of the door. That will be done with the pink floss. Well, it's actually pearl cotton that I'm using, not floss today. My favorite thread for embroidery and slow stitching and that type of thing. I use anything that I have on hand and can find the right color, for what I'm doing. But my thread of choice is the Valdani Pearl Cotton. I use size 12 and size 8. Size 12 is what I am using for the embroidery. I use a lot of size 8 in the slow stitching work. And Jim Pollock is here. Using a hoop for embroidery, that's a good question, Jim. And he's saying because you're dealing with a quilt size, are hoops not used? I do not use a hoop. I rarely use a hoop when I do embroidery. I do mine just holding it in my hand because I have more control of my stitch that way. A hoop restricts it a little bit. And that is the reason I'm not using a hoop. Actually, for some, it would probably be easier using a hoop because it is quilt size, because then the rest of the quilt would not be in their way as much. But I am just someone, and there, I'm sorry, that was my dog that just shook the camera. Sorry about that. But I just am a person that prefers doing embroidery, not in a hoop. I don't know if that helped you much, but that was how I answered that question. And Vicky says, Jean, have you watched The Homely Quilter? Yes, I have. I really enjoy watching her. Most definitely. I love just listening to her. And Kelly says, I have been using Pearl Cotton 12 weight for the big stitch quilting on the medallion quilt. Yes, which I would probably do that, Kelly, but that is little, well, depending on if, yeah, if you're not using Valdani, I guess it wouldn't be as bad. But I actually used the size 10 crochet thread for the big stitch quilting. That's quite a bit cheaper than using the pearl cotton. And I don't know if you've thought of that or were aware of that or not, Kelly. But both are good. You are welcome. And Andrea says that she had a dream this morning that I offered someone in a chat that I offended someone in a chat that caused them to leave a group. I would never do that intentionally. So if I ever say something offensive, please ignore. Oh, I don't think you have to worry about that, Andrea. We all can, unintentionally, everybody is at some time can end up saying something. I mean, that's life. We can very easily, unknowingly offend somebody and never ever know it. So I would not ever worry about that, Andrea. And please pop in those questions while I am working. I love to answer questions with just my viewpoint on it. It doesn't mean it is right or wrong. It is just always the way that I do or prefer doing things. It doesn't mean it is the only way, the right way, or the wrong way, because as we all know, there are many ways of doing things when it comes to any type of stitching. And I do have another needle pre-threaded. That is a tip that I will give you, which you love my pin cushion here. I've shown you how I make those by when you are trimming the batting off the sides of your quilt when it is done, just to take and roll that up, makes a nice pin cushion. And I always pre-thread needles when I am quilting or doing embroidery, so I don't have to stop as often to thread a needle. It's just take the next one, kind of like having, extra bobbins wound. Have extra needles threaded so you don't have to keep stopping to thread them. And we are going to go ahead and finish this door that I'm working on. Even though I'm anxious to get started on the vines and the flowers and the little flowers down here, and that'll be green for the grass line there, but this little house has a lot of windows in the front. Good light coming in it. Yeah, I hate dreams that wake me up also. Oh, okay, Vicky. She says that she loves watching her. That is where she got the idea to try her hand at paper piecing. I enjoy paper piecing. I enjoy anything, everything that has to do with quilting and stitching of any kind. Very few things. Well, and I like a challenge, so I always like to try something new. But and Andrea says, my hearing loss causes me to misunderstand sometimes and react in a weird way, and I'm oversensitive to it. Oh, I'm sorry that you're oversensitive. I have a tendency to sometimes be over emotional, but try not to. Try not to, but that is a great tip. I'm gonna do that. The threading the extra needles. Yeah. Especially in hand quilting. I will have 5 or 6 threaded ahead of time when I am hand quilting. And Jim says, thank you, Mona, for the shout out about this live. It is giving me a good idea about making a label for a baby quilt I'm working on. Oh, yes, doing embroidery work on it. Is that what you are thinking of doing? Because those make awesome, awesome labels. Also, if you ever do, if you, a great thing for any of you that still have family reunions and are quilters. It's been a while because I don't live in the area that my family has a family reunion. I have to travel several miles, several hundred about 1,000 miles, let's put it that way. So I don't get to always go, but I made uh, signature blocks ahead of time and took with me the one year. And I had the freezer paper on the back so that it was stabilized, and then had it marked within the 1/4 inch so that they would not sign anything that would end up in the 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I had them sign their names and write whatever that they wanted to on those blocks. And then came home and put it all together into a family heirloom of that year's family reunion. Had everybody that attended their signature and whatever message that they wanted to put on there. But what I was getting at is, if you do signature quilts, you can have them sign their name, and it is awesome to do whatever they put on that by going back over it and doing that in embroidery. So, and Vicky is asking, do you long arm quilting for others? I used to. I used to do that as a profession. I have retired from that part of long arming because I have so many quilts of my own that my children are going to be the ones looking for someone to finish theirs if I don't start getting my own completed. There are a couple friends, that close friends that I have that join me in the stitching cottage that I have taught to quilt, and they are the only ones that I still do long arm quilting for at this point in time. And hello, Gladys, the Confident Quilter. She is here also with us this morning. Don't forget to put that exclamation point selfie in there so that it will drop your link. And if you haven't, Kelly, you also need to do that. And anyone else I may have missed that has a channel, as a content creator, make sure that you just put your exclamation point selfie in the chat and it will drop the link for your channel. What a fabulous idea. I love it. The embroidery for the signature blocks, autograph blocks, whatever you want to call them. Yes, it is. A wedding, somebody's wedding. Awesome idea also for that. And now I'm going to have to tie off because I'm not going to travel all the way up to where those windows are or the top of that. I need to check my time there. Or the top of those windows. We'll only travel so far on the back with my thread, and that's not a distance I'm willing to travel. So we will knot that off. And gives you an opportunity for those of you that haven't seen. There may be some. I do a quilter's knot. I'm going to try and get that in the, where am I? You just can't, you can barely see the thread there. You. Anyway, I am going to take my needle and I'm bringing the thread to the very end, and you just lay your thread across the top of your needle. You pinch it with your thumb and your index finger, and then you wrap the needle twice, bring that down and pinch the thread in there. Hold it with your thumb and finger, slide it right down to the end, and just slowly slide your thread, holding that all the way to the end. And you end up with your perfect knot right there at the end. If your tail gets a little long and you don't want it that long, perfect for if you're hand quilting, that helps anchor it in there. Just trim it off a little bit. But that is the quilter's knot, and that is the knot that I use all the time in all my hand stitching, except for counter cross stitch, of course. But hello, Tracy. Good morning. It is great to see you joining us this morning also, and also one of the Stitching Friend members of the channel. But now I want to decide, do I want to go up here or do I want to do these windows? But I think I'm going to do this section right here because that I can do. Oh, as I get my hand under here to start it. Which earlier when I was working on this, I'm glad it wasn't during the live because I happened to look, and that's one of the disadvantages of it being, an entire quilt while you're working on it, is I hadn't realized that I caught this little border section underneath my stitching on part of these. Whoa, get in the view there. On part of these flowers. It somehow got folded under there a little bit, and I had to go and remove my stitching and get that off there. So be careful that you're not unknowingly catching any part of your quilt underneath in your stitching. I'm glad that you found the channel and evidently subscribed, Jim, or you wouldn't be chatting with us in there, since I do have subscribers only turned on, and I'm sorry if you had to wait that 5 minutes to be able to join the chat, but that keeps the scammers out of the chat and makes it safe for all of us to enjoy. And Kelly says, I need to get back on the phone. Bye, everyone. Goodbye, Kelly, and thank you very much for joining us this morning. And I might get with you and message you later today. I have something to ask you. Just letting you know. You may get a message from me. Oh, what a way to relay information there, huh? And Andrea says, I have never tried embroidery without a hoop. Is that easier or harder? Well, it depends upon the person, Andrea. For me, I find it easier because I can control my stitches a lot better by being able to have my hands right there where I want them instead of, your hoop may be out here and then you can't reach your hand under there and hold and clench it the way that you want to. Um, it also gives more flexibility with the fabric to be able to maneuver it. But of course, like I said, I wouldn't be doing it on a whole quilt like this had I planned ahead of time and decided that I was going to do embroidery on it. I would do it on the blocks and then put the quilt together. But yeah, that's all a matter. I mean, everyone is going to have their feeling on that. Some prefer a hoop, some don't. There are times if I'm doing something very, very tiny and small that I may be using a hoop, but for the majority of the time, I do not use a hoop. And Junebug says, I have been listening while I took care of hubby. Got to take care of that hubby. I always have to run in and do that in between what I am doing out here. And I think if I have missed anybody's questions or anybody that popped on, it's not intentional. Definitely do not mean to do that. And don't ever feel bad about if I have missed the question, adding it in the chat again. And I keep forgetting to look and see if I'm still in view, which I am still just doing a back stitch. Most of the stitching on this will be a back stitch. Oh, when I get to these, the flowers and stuff, that will probably have some it's not going to have any lazy daisy in it, but it'll have stem stitch in it. We've got two stars up here in the above this house. I'm not sure. I guess they will have to be done in the brown. I don't think I want pink stars up there, and that's the only three colors I'm using. So, and guess who Nancy is here? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to you. Popping in at the end, close to the end. Anyway, I just always end up stopping right around the hour mark. I know that I have blocked out a time and scheduled always this for 2 hours in case I am, ever teaching anything or doing something that takes longer, but I have never met that 2 hour mark yet. So, and what are you working on this morning? Guess who, Nancy? And Andrea says, I have every size and shape of metal and wood hoops. I used to do a whole bunch of needlework, but other things took priority. You have made me want to do it again. So I have to break out the floss again. Yes, I have. Yes, I have every type of hoop and everything. Also, I have some antique vintage ones. And I have to tell you, the most amazing hoop that I have, and I always get a kick out of this, is I have my grandmother's treadle sewing machine. And with her treadle sewing machine, she has an attachment that came in a box. She still has, I mean, I still have the box, the instructions, and what it cost is on there that it came in. Sorry, that was the dog again. Whip is sleeping in his bed that is underneath the TV tray that I use for a portable pressing station. And that's what my camera mount is connected to. So every once in a while when he moves, he shakes the camera. I apologize for that. But it was a good location to have that attached to this morning. But the the attachment for it for the free motion quilting. I opened it up because I thought, oh, well, that's exciting. Everybody, thinks they didn't do free motion quilting, back in the day with a treadle sewing machine. Well, evidently they did, and somebody decided they'd try and make it a little easier. And what it consists of is a little, but very, very, very tiny. I mean, about it's, get my hands there, a little hoop about that big around, a rubber band, and a spring. And that's what they used to put their fabric in and do free motion quilting. I guess they put the rubber band around the little hoop and they put the spring on their needles somehow to make it work for free motion quilting. And so that is the most interesting hoop that I have in my collection. And guess who Nancy is crocheting? All right. And Tracy says she is back to doing cross stitch and embroidery again. Have always loved hand embroidery on quilts. Yes. I love the combination, which is what we will be doing in April starts the new quarter for the quarterly project that we do in the Facebook group and also show it along on YouTube. And I forget the name. It's a pattern by Hatched and Patched. It's a small little pattern. I think it's only, like 17 by 20, something like that. It's Garden something is the name. I know one of you will pop that in there that remember that and have that. Garden Paradise or something like that. But it is a combination of course, quilting, block making, and a little bit of applique and embroidery. And those are the types of quilts that I love, because I love anything that has anything to do with hand stitching, hand quilting, hand piecing. And when you can combine all three into one little quilt, yes, that is called stitching heaven as far as I am concerned. That very, very therapeutic and brings a lot of peace and joy to my soul. But it can add so much to a quilt, give it a whole new dimension. And speaking of labels for quilts and embroidery, as Jim alluded to earlier, it is very easy to go ahead and decide what you want on your label. Turn on whatever program you use on your, computer, laptop, or whatever, whether it be, Word or some other program. Find a font that you like and print it out, and you can use that for your embroidery pattern to just stitch right over use it for the tracing with the light box or whatever. Or if you have some of the, I'll have to show it again another time. There is a washout like stabilizer that you can run through your printer to print your applique or embroidery patterns on, and it just washes away when you are done. But that is a great way to make the pattern for doing embroidery for on any label or whatever that you want to put on the back of your quilt. Yes, better late than never. And replay is always better than no play, as they say too. So, Nancy. And Mona is leaving us. Goodbye. Thank you for joining us this morning, Mona. And she was here and didn't miss the beginning. And Vicky says, I am beating on a different thing. Earrings. Okay. I believe it or not, I also do that. Vicky, and I also have combined crochet and beading, not breeding, and into jewelry making. But yeah, that's awesome. That is handwork. And Joyce says, see you all later. Need to get busy. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you, Joyce. And it is getting on that hour time. So I am about around to the last stitch on this part of the roof that I am doing. So it will be a great wrap up space. Yes, that is cool. You are welcome. You're just getting a wealth of tips this morning, aren't you, Jim? You came at the right time. Oh, and Tracy says, Danielle, have you been working on your embroidery? Which embroidery is Danielle doing? I forget. And Andrea says she needs to go feed the bunnies between rain showers. If you are still on when I get back, I will see you. If not, then later. I will probably be gone, Andrea, because this is the last stitch and it is just wrap up time. So, but and with that being said, that was it. I'm going to plant my needle on the reverse side here because I'm ready to move. But we will show we finished that bird. Boop, up here, if I can figure out the right direction to move. Finished the bird there. He's a little upside down for you, but you can get the gist of it. That was completed. And last week we did the cute little bunny. And those are the two that will be repeated on the snowballs that go around the outer portion of that. And then started on the house that is only one of those that is in the middle section. So that is what has been completed on this while we have been working live. And I am going to go ahead and bring myself back in. There we go. And there you see, oops, we can turn this off, which don't, there we go. Turn that off and get that off my neck so I can be comfortable and safe. Let everyone know that what my plans are since I go live on Monday mornings and Friday mornings is Monday morning will be Stitch Talk now in the stitching corner, which is we will go over everything that has to do with any of the projects that are done by hand stitching in any way will always be done on Monday mornings here in the stitching corner. And then on Friday will be anything that has to do with the quilting and the machine and that type of thing. So that is how I will set up these lives from now on, make that little change. So Monday will still be Stitch Talk and Friday will be Stitch Tips and Chat. So on Friday, we will be talking about April's quarterly project that is coming up, just as a reminder to share that with you all again, for those of you that are wanting to join in on that. I know some of you have already gotten your patterns. A couple of you won that pattern in my giveaway, but you still have time, because if you order that from Rusty Crow, and I will leave that in the description box of this one below, so you have that information again. If you order that pattern from Rusty Crow, I can almost guarantee you will have that pattern by the beginning of next week. So I will leave that there. But that is what is in store for Friday. And don't forget, Wednesday night is part 2 in the series of hand quilting step by step, as I teach Danielle how to hand quilt live via Zoom on Wednesday nights on my channel at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be doing the rocking stitch on Wednesday evenings. So if you are interested in that, be sure and be there. If you've never hand quilted and you would like to see some of that, it will be very fun to watch also. So, and let me see. Oh, she was learning hand quilting. Okay. Oh, that's easy to get confused. And Jim says, have a great day, everyone. Thank you once again, Jim, for joining us. And I hope that you enjoyed it this morning. And Danielle says, yeah, have not even started trying to get my whips taken care of first. Jody says, have a wonderful day, all. You also. Vicky says, I started with crochet beading, but then I found out it's more fun to make my own designs for bracelets and earrings. Yes, I have many. We do not want to say how many beads and everything that I have, and those are stored in my husband's workshop. I have a cabinet out there that all of that is in. And Danielle says, I want to do embroidery, Mama Jean, just have not done so as too much on my list of other items. I am sure. I understand that totally. Thank you, Lorraine. She says, that is so pretty. Yes. And Danielle says her first hand quilting lesson will be this Wednesday evening. And that's all right, Tracy. I get things confused all the time. And Letitia says, okay, friends, until next time, have a great day. Jody says, would love to learn to hand quilt. We'll be there Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jody, we the all that you missed, and you can go back and watch the replay on that video. It's one of the recorded ones, not a live. But the first part was just tracing the pattern that you want for your quilting pattern and learning how to layer and pin baste it and put it properly in the hoop. Well, thank you, Jim. I'm glad. And June says, bye, everyone. Have an awesome day. And that got me to the end of the chat. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. Tracy is saying, have a good day, Jean. Be careful. I will. And I will see you back on Wednesday, if not before, for that hand quilting, and then Friday. And take care, everyone. And I hope I have inspired you in some way this morning to either take up embroidery, try some of the tips that I shared along the way, or in any way, or just brought a smile to you this morning. And remember, in the meantime, I can keep you in stitches. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.